Hi, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company, and welcome back to our queen rearing apiary, which is our kind of base for these early season videos. It's a beautiful day today, the sun's been shining, it's nice and warm, and some of the colonies are out flying. And we've come back to, first of all, to just check on how many seams of bees that we've got in our colonies, and we've just produced a Patron video for that. So if you want to have a look at that, then take a look at our Patreon site, and I'll leave all the details in the description below. But this video is specifically to take a look at our Maisemore poly hives. We were very lucky last year. Jonathan and the team at Maisemore sent over some poly hives that they sell for us to try out last season and through this winter, and we're now coming through the winter and taking a look at how the colonies have fared into this early spring sunshine. So we've got 3 poly hives here at this site, plus one of the poly nukes that Maisemore also sells, and I'll put all of the information in the description below so that you can take a look at those and get some more information about the Maisemore poly hives at your leisure. So let's take the camera through into the apiary and we'll have a look at these hives. So here we've got our Maisemore poly nuke. The nukes, unlike the hives, the nukes don't come with a strap, and we did have a situation where the roof blew off in the winter winds, so we put this lightweight breeze block, or part of a breeze block, on top of it just to hold it down. I've not yet had a look inside, so we'll just pop the roof off. We're not going to inspect because it's still really too cold and too early in the season to be inspecting, but I just want to make sure that we've got some active bees in there and that they're looking okay. So let's just take the roof off and have a look. And here we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In fact, we've got 6 seams of bees, and they're all looking fine. If I look down at the back here, I can see that we've got some honey, so there's honey stores at the back of these frames so the bees can get to that, and they're looking great. So that's a really good result. I'm really pleased with the way the bees have been able to take to the poly nuke. So I'm going to pop the roof back on, and then we'll just pop the breeze block back on the top. So this is one of the Maisemore poly hives. We've not had a look in it yet. So this one was marked with a yellow traffic light sign, so that means it's got maybe 5 or 6 seams of bees in. We're not going to take the cover board off, we're just going to take the roof off and have a look. You can probably see there are bees flying. It's quite active, it's nice and warm here today, so I expect that we're going to see some nice activity underneath the roof. So let's get the camera down and we'll take the roof off and have a look. Another good feature of these Maisemore hives is that they have this strap, which is really easy to put on and take off, but it just holds everything together nicely. So let's just take the roof off. We've got the queen excluder in there. So here we've got a cluster of bees. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 seams of bees here, which is probably what we had the last time. And so you can see there's a bit of activity. The bees are just milling around at the top there. So that's good to see. And generally everything looks quite good with them. So we're not going to disturb them. We're just going to move on and have a look at one of the other hives. So we'll pop the roof back on. Just tighten up the strap down to hold everything in place. So this one's got the green mark on it, so this was a stronger colony the last time. So we'll just have a look and see how these guys are doing. And sure enough, a much bigger brood nest. So this is a lot stronger than the previous one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9.5 seams of bees. So they're looking really good. I can see that there is stores down in some of these frames, so they've got enough food at the moment. So that's really nice to see. And you can see when we first put these hives together, I was a little bit concerned about this clear plastic cover board, but what the bees have done is actually made their own bee space beneath it, so they can now freely move around. What I normally tend to do is to scrape all of that away each time I clean, but I think with these colonies in these poly hives, I shall have to leave that so that when we put the cover board back on, we're not crushing bees. But that's just maybe a slightly different technique that we need to employ when we're using these poly hives. Okay, so we'll get them shut up again and get the roof on. And just tighten up the strap so that they're nice and secure. So here we've got one of the bees that's come back, and it looks as if it might have been on crocus. We've got some pollen on its legs here, in its pollen basket. And that's great to see that they are bringing back some pollen from the local plants. So this is our third and final poly hive that we're going to look at. This one had 6 seams of bees when we looked at it last time, but because it's warming up, that cluster is going to have expanded potentially. So we're not really going to take too much notice of exactly how many seams we've got, but it's really as a guide to see whether the bees have expanded or whether, more importantly, they're struggling and maybe they've reduced down to just 2 or 3 seams. So we'll have a look. So on this one, these cover boards come with a protective film on top of the actual sheet, but we've left it on underneath, so we're going to have to peel this one off. So we'll have a quick look. And so here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 seams of bees beneath this particular cover board. And let's just peel off the plastic sheeting. And then if I lay this back on top, you can actually see the bees beneath it. But they've of course now expanded from the main cluster brood nest area. But we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But this end one is just a small number, so there's probably just 5 in there, and that's fine. They're doing fine. So we'll just pop everything back together, keep it all nice and safe, pop the roof back on, and then we can mark the tops of these hives with an appropriate mark to show that they've either changed or they haven't. So we've got 5 seams of bees. So we've had a look at all of the bees in there, and they're all looking really good. We've got several colonies that are very strong. The Maisemore polyhives compare favourably with the wooden hives. They're not significantly better or worse than the wooden hives, and I think they're a really good option if you're looking for maybe a lightweight hive that you want to be able to inspect and move around without the additional weight of some of the wooden materials. I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop over the coming weeks and months and into the spring to see how quickly they expand, so that's going to be interesting to see as well. One of the other things that I'm really looking forward to is actually getting into some beekeeping. At the moment, the videos that we're producing are kind of the run-up to the beekeeping season, and we're not actually getting into the colonies themselves. It's still too cold. Even with the warm sunshine that we've got today, the ambient temperature is still quite cool, and so we don't want to be splitting the brood nest open and chilling the brood and chilling the cluster that's in there. It takes a lot of effort for the honeybees to raise the temperature to the correct brood nest temperature that they need, which is in excess of 30 degrees. And if you split that open too soon, then it takes a lot of additional effort on their part to raise the temperature back up, and you could end up killing your colony. So don't be in too mad a rush to get into your bees and start inspecting. Just if you need to just check them to see if they've got food, just pop the roof and crown board off and just have a look at what you've got. You can add some fondant at this time of the year. It's still a little bit too early to be giving them sugar syrup, so I wouldn't advise giving sugar syrup just yet, but fondant is going to be the best thing for them. And you could start to think about giving them some pollen substitute if you're in an area where you don't have sufficient early spring pollen. Here at this site we're surrounded by willows, and they're now starting to come into bud, and I think there'll be a lot of pollen available for the colonies at this particular site. So we won't use any pollen substitute here, but we've got one or two other sites where we will probably pop some pollen substitute on, and so we'll probably shoot a video that will be posted on our Patreon page where you can have a look at how we mix up the pollen substitute and apply that to the hives as well. So look out for that, and all of the details for our various social media and our Patreon page will be posted down in the description below. So we're going to pack up and head off to one of our other apiaries just to see how they're doing, and we'll catch up with you next time. Thanks for watching.